Hi guys, it's Nava Rose. Welcome back. Happy quarantine, if that's what you guys want to call it. I hope you guys are staying inside and staying sane and staying healthy. Okay, I'm gonna put a disclaimer on this video. I feel like I should have put this disclaimer before I even said hi, because I know a lot of people are gonna jump on this video and start making coronavirus comments or even actually watching the video or listening to my intro.
The masks featured in this video will not protect you against the deadly coronavirus or any virus for that matter. This mask will not save your life at all. These are strictly for fashion and should not be worn in a hospital. The only thing they will protect you from is an ugly outfit.
I absolutely know that these masks will not protect you from the coronavirus. These masks are strictly just for fashion purposes. We all are just quarantined, so I thought it'd be fun to create some fashion masks out of things that I find in my house, because I literally have been quarantined for the past like 14 days. It's been a full 10 days actually since I've had any physical human contact interaction at all, because I live by myself. So that's my sad life right now. So I made a ton of masks. Yeah, so this video was supposed to come out on Thursday, but I got carried away and literally made twice as many masks than I should have. But I just want to show you guys all the masks that I made. This one I created with the help of a Supreme sticker that I had lying around, and this is from obviously my fake Gucci purse. So if you guys do decide to wear these out, I suggest wearing an actual certified approved mask underneath. At least like you could spice up your outfit by putting one of these fashion masks on, but you're actually protected with an actual mask underneath. I'm just saying, just a suggestion, but don't go out into the outside world telling people that Nava Rose said that these masks can save you from the coronavirus, because they won't, okay? I'm just trying to help make everyone look cute during this quarantine, because we're gonna come out of this quarantine looking like freaking potatoes. I've literally eaten all my snacks and all my food. So I think that's pretty much it for this intro. Don't forget to subscribe down below, hit the notification bell if you want to see more DIY videos during this quarantine. Let us jump into these tutorials. Yay! So for the first mask, I made it out of my Prada dust bag. The materials I used were a ruler, some pins, thin wire, a fabric pen, my Prada dust bag, which is actually real. I usually use fake designer stuff for my DIY projects, so this is definitely a first. Some white elastic string and some scissors. I used one of my masks for the dimensions of this tutorial, which I actually have a template for you guys to download, but in case you guys wanted to see it and wanted to freehand it yourself, I'm going to show you guys step by step. The first thing I did was I measured the length and the width of my mask, and then I marked it all around the Prada logo. I added a 1-inch seam allowance all over, but honestly, I feel like for the top and the bottom, you only really need ½ an inch, and I will also make sure that's in the template as well. After I cut and pinned the edges, I sewed a hem on all 4 sides. Then I folded the top and the bottom once more to make a rolled hem. You guys can actually skip the first hem that I did and go straight into making a basic folded hem or a rolled hem, but you know, because I'm like extra and I wanted to make this as nice as possible because it is Prada, even though it's like just a dust bag, I know, I ended up sewing 2 hems because, you know, I just want to make it nice. This is optional, but some of my masks actually have wire for structure in them, so I decided to add that one too. I measured and cut a folded piece that would fit in the center, and I also bent the tips of the wire just so it wouldn't be as sharp and easily poke through the fabric. Once you have your piece of wire, you can go ahead and slip that in the top hem. Then fold down 3/4 up to 1 inch, depending on how big your mask is, and make each pleat about 1/4 inch deep. And as you guys can see on the left side, I added a straight stitch on top of the pleat, starting from the edge and going in about 1 inch. Repeat this to the other side, and once it's all sewn, you can remove your pins. I also ironed the pleats so that they would stay put, but you know, this is optional as well. Next, you're going to want to fold the sides in about 1 inch, and then sew a straight seam down the edge about ½ an inch from the side to make a tunnel. Thread your elastic or stretchy string through the tunnel and either tie or sew the elastic ends together. So I just decided to tie the ends for my mask because the string that I used wasn't super stretchy and I wanted to make it adjustable just in case. I'm actually really happy with how this turned out. I was a little scared at first because, you know, it's not one of my fake designer bags that cost like $10, even though a dust bag from Prada is only $10-15, but still, you know, I don't really cut real things up. But anyways, I love that I'm able to wear an actual mask underneath as well. So there's not much footage of the Chanel mask because it is the same exact tutorial, but this time I just ironed on a Chanel logo and added some lace at the top by adding it to the hem. I also swear that it recorded me bedazzling the logo, but I don't know where that footage went. But anyways, here's the final look. I actually thought this mask was gonna look a little tacky because of the rhinestones and the lace. You know, I just wanted to add both onto one mask and I was a little nervous, but it actually turned out really cute and I'm so happy with it. So moving on to the second mask template, this one is technically simpler, but in a way it's a little bit harder. For this one, you're gonna need the template and about 1 yard of fold over elastic. Start by cutting your 2 pieces of fabric using this template and then sew along the curve with a straight stitch. This is also totally optional, but I usually like to add a top stitch along the seam to hold down the seam allowance underneath and just to also give it a cleaner look. So this is the part where it gets a little tricky only because it is a tad bit tedious. So next you're going to want to take a piece of fold over elastic and just like the name, you're going to fold it over the edge of your mask. So take the side of the mask and then sandwich the edge inside of the elastic and then sew a zigzag stitch to hold it all together. Then you're going to repeat it to the other side of the mask. Now you can cut off any excess elastic and then repeat the same steps to the top and the bottom edge, but this time make sure you leave about a few inches of elastic on both sides because this is going to be the strap for your ears. I would definitely suggest using a zigzag stitch because it allows for ultimate stretchiness. But I think a straight stitch wouldn't hurt either if you don't have a zigzag stitch option. Now you could try on the mask and measure out how much elastic you need for your ear strap. Then you could sew those 2 ends together and you have your mask. Alright, so I found these pair of bikini bottoms from the H&M and Moschino collection that I, obviously never wore, and I thought the tag ribbon would be really cute as trim for my mask, so I carefully top stitched the ribbon onto the top edge. And towards the end, I just tucked the last part of the end of the ribbon underneath using my nails. Yes, you guys can see it's possible to sew with long nails, and they actually become very handy. This mask is probably one of my favorites and probably the most universal out of all the masks that I made today. Everyone's gonna think that I got an exclusive H&M and Moschino mask from the collection that never dropped. Oh my god, this Supreme mask. So I actually made this mask using part of a sticker. I just have so many Supreme stickers that I just wanted to do something with them. So the first thing I did was I cut out all the letters using my scissors and my X-Acto knife, and then I made a mesh piece exactly like the one that I made from the previous tutorial, and then I placed the stickers on top of that. So my method of adding the clear tape was to hold down the stickers while I glue the back of them, and the reason why I'm hot gluing the back is just to make sure that the stickers stick firmly onto that mesh panel because obviously stickers don't stick onto fabric. So as you guys can see, I'm just adding a bit of glue to the back of each letter and that way it could hold everything in. I then made another mesh panel and I placed it over the sticker piece. From there I followed the same exact steps as the previous tutorial where I added fold over elastic to the sides and then added fold over elastic to the top and the bottom. So the reason why it's thicker on the top and the bottom is because I doubled up on the elastic so that it ends up being a wider fold over elastic. And again, after you measure your elastic for your ears, you could go ahead and sew it together. I'm actually surprised this one turned out as good as it did. I really thought it was going to be a throwaway project because it is made out of stickers. The only thing that I'm bummed about is that I didn't really think about the seam in the center, so it's actually covering the R. And lastly, we have the Gucci mask, which I actually used all the same materials except I added the Gucci purse. So I took the same template from other tutorials and I started drawing a design and then I cut those pieces out. So the little sliver part in the center is going to be mesh, so I'm going to cut off the seam allowance section and I'm just going to cut this on the fold, which I will explain later on. So when I was cutting my 4 pieces out of the purse material, I noticed that it was a lot easier just to tape them down versus pinning them, and that's mainly because 1, the material's thick, but also 2, I am very lazy. Match up the pieces together and then sew along the curve. Just like the other tutorials, I top stitched the seam allowance down, but this is also very optional. Next, I cut out my mesh piece, and as you guys can see, I'm placing the pattern on a fold so that I don't have to sew a seam down the center. So I have to add 1/4 inch of seam allowance to the mesh part because when I cut the pattern, there's no seam allowance added, so that is why I'm adding some space on both sides. Now that we have all of our pieces cut, assembling it will look something like this. Just like the other tutorials, I added fold over elastic to the edges. I added elastic to the top edge of the bottom piece and then the bottom edge of the top piece. I'm so sorry if that was really confusing. Next, I have to match up the edges of the pieces to the mesh section and sew them all together. It was a bit hard at first because it's basically like I'm working inside of a bowl, but I somehow made it work. Okay, so the bottom part was a little hard to sew. This is like the first time I'm gonna see it inverted, so I want to do it on camera with you guys. See how terrible it is? Maybe I should have made it more structured here. As you guys can see, it was not cute at all, so I decided to cut up the bottom half and redo it. I taped the old patterns together and then I cut a new shape out. Then I sewed that to the bottom piece, and once that was done, I tucked it under the top and then I closed it up with a straight stitch. This is the complete piece now, which is definitely a lot more structured, and to finish it off, I just added more fold over elastic to the edges, just like the previous tutorials. Alright, so to be honest, this one was my least favorite out of all the masks. I don't know, I just felt like I looked like one of these characters or maybe all of them put together. I also feel like I have a man's cup on my face. I don't know, maybe it's the shape and the design. But anyways, I definitely want to try this again and do better and make a cuter design. Probably make it out of a Louis Vuitton bag. We'll see. I hope you guys enjoyed my little DIY mask tutorials. If you guys have seen this photo on my Instagram, this one I don't have a tutorial on, but you know who does is my friend Wendy from With Wendy, so definitely check out her tutorial. She has great DIYs. If you guys are subscribed to my channel, you guys are probably already subscribed to hers because she's like DIY queen. If you end up making any of these masks, definitely tag me so I can see, because I love seeing your guys' projects. They make me smile so much. If you guys want to connect with me, all my socials are at the Nava Rose, except for TikTok, which is at the.navarose. Everyone, please stay safe, stay inside, stay 6 feet away, but you guys already know this because literally everyone has been telling you guys that. I love you guys all so much, and I'll see you guys in my next quarantine video. Bye!